Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, there is a floating mass of debris, roughly 3 times the size of France. It does not appear on any map, it was not built by any government, and yet it grows larger every single year. This is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and it is almost entirely made of plastic. What began as a revolutionary material in the mid-20th century has quietly become one of the most persistent environmental threats the planet has ever faced. Plastic was invented to make life easier, more convenient, more affordable, and in many ways it succeeded. But the cost of that convenience is now washing up on every shore, sinking to every ocean floor, and embedding itself into the bodies of nearly every living creature on Earth. To understand why plastic pollution is so devastating, you first need to understand what plastic actually is. Most plastics are derived from fossil fuels, primarily petroleum and natural gas, through a process that creates long chains of synthetic molecules called polymers. These chains are extraordinarily stable, which is precisely what makes plastic so useful. A plastic bottle can hold liquid without leaking. A plastic bag can carry heavy groceries without tearing. A plastic container can sit in a landfill for 500 years without fully breaking down. That durability, once celebrated as a triumph of modern chemistry, is now the source of an ecological nightmare. Unlike organic materials that decompose and return to the earth, plastic simply fragments into smaller and smaller pieces over time. These fragments, known as microplastics, are particles smaller than 5 millimeters, and they are now found in the deepest ocean trenches, the highest mountain peaks, Arctic ice cores, and even in human blood. The numbers surrounding plastic production are almost incomprehensible. Since mass production began in the 1950s, humanity has produced over 9 billion metric tons of plastic. Of that staggering amount, only about 9% has ever been recycled. Roughly 12% has been incinerated. The remaining 79% has accumulated in landfills, in natural environments, or in the ocean. Every single year, approximately 8 million metric tons of plastic enters the world's oceans. That is the equivalent of dumping a garbage truck full of plastic into the sea every single minute of every single day. Single-use plastics, items designed to be used once and thrown away, account for a massive portion of this waste. Plastic straws, cutlery, packaging, bottles, and bags are produced in the billions daily, used for minutes, and then discarded into a world that has no natural mechanism to absorb them. The consequences for wildlife are both heartbreaking and scientifically alarming. Sea turtles mistake plastic bags for jellyfish and choke on them. Seabirds feed plastic fragments to their chicks, filling their stomachs with material that provides no nutrition and causes slow starvation. Whales have been found dead on beaches with hundreds of pounds of plastic bags and packaging lodged in their digestive systems. Coral reefs, already under pressure from rising ocean temperatures, are further suffocated when plastic debris settles over them, blocking sunlight and introducing bacteria. Fish absorb microplastics through their gills and digestive systems, and those fish are then eaten by larger predators, including humans. The contamination does not stay in the ocean. It moves through the food chain, concentrating at each level, a process scientists call biomagnification. What begins as a discarded water bottle eventually becomes a chemical burden carried by every creature in the ecosystem. Perhaps the most unsettling dimension of the plastic pollution crisis is how deeply it has penetrated the human body. Studies published in recent years have detected microplastics in human lungs, liver, kidney tissue, placenta, and bloodstream. Researchers at Universiteit Amsterdam found microplastic particles in the blood of 80% of the people they tested. These particles enter the body through the food we eat, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. The health implications are still being studied, but early research suggests that certain plastic-associated chemicals, such as bisphenol A and various phthalates, can disrupt hormonal systems, impair reproductive function, and may be linked to certain cancers. The plastic age has not just reshaped the environment, it has reshaped human biology. But every piece of plastic that is refused, replaced, or recovered is a small act of resistance against a future where the planet itself becomes the landfill. Around the world, individuals, corporations, and governments are beginning to respond with urgency. Over 120 countries have introduced some form of regulation on single-use plastics. The European Union has banned a wide range of single-use plastic products, including straws, cutlery, and cotton bud sticks. Innovators are developing biodegradable alternatives made from seaweed, mushroom fibers, and plant-based polymers. Ocean cleanup organizations are deploying large-scale systems to collect plastic from the surface of the sea. Consumers are increasingly demanding sustainable packaging, and some major corporations are beginning to redesign their supply chains in response. But individual action and corporate goodwill alone will not be enough. Systemic change, driven by enforceable policy and international cooperation, is the only path that matches the scale of the crisis.